President Joseph Estrada himself, sabi niya sa akin, Winnie, wala akong ni isang kusing
Naninakaw?
na kinuha sa pera ng gobyerno. And he is right. Wala siyang kinuhang isang kusing. But you see,
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat, Sir JR po ng Usap-Usap University at mga ka-U3. Welcome back na naman po sa ating channel and it's always great to be seeing you once again. At alam niyo naman po siguro, syempre, lumabas na po yung mga resulta ng midterm elections 2025 at ang ating topic po ngayon is a bit related to that. Although this was shot months before the actual midterm exams, pero atin pong tatalakayin at bibigyan ng reaksyon ang discussion ni Christian Esguerra ng show na Fact First, and then ang kanya pong guest is si Maring Winnie Monsod. At malamang po sa malamang ay kilala niyo po si Maring Winnie. Napaka-popular po niyan, veterana na researcher at syempre journalist na rin po. At usually yung kanyang pong focus is especially about lipunan natin. At siya din po syempre ang host ng a very popular na debate show ng GMA7 dati, Debate with Mare and Pare, which is kasama niya nga po na co-host si Attorney Oscar Orbos. Ayan, kung di ako nagkakamali. So sa aking pong background sa pag-aanalisa, sa panonood po ng mga argumento, ako po ay dating university debater mula po sa MSU IIT sa loob po ng 3 taon. Ako rin po ay nakapagdebate sa ABS-CBN News Channel at ako ay member ng isang international public speaking organization, ang Toastmasters International. Mga ka-U3, hindi ako affiliated sa left or sa right. Ako po ay isang fair lamang po na reactor, although honestly, of course, I voted and I practiced the right to suffrage. So, masaya naman po ako sa naging resulta po ng ating eleksyon ngayon. So, in a way, dahil ito pong video na ito was taken months before the actual election. So tingnan natin kung yung kanilang kumbaga parang panghuhula and warnings were really followed for this midterm elections, mga ka-U3. So if everything now is ready, let us watch this video together. Let's go!
Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Christian Esguerra and welcome po sa ating special episode ng ating Facts First Convo ngayong araw. Alam niyo po, ang kasama po natin ay isang batikang ekonomista. Isa po siyang kilalang advocate or nakikipaglaban po dito po sa issue ng korupsyon. Dahil ang pag-uusapan po natin ngayong araw, issue ng korupsyon, lalatag na naman po ng mga kakandidato, ng kanilang mga sarili, kanilang mga plataforma. Kaso, baka mabudol na naman po yung marami sa atin. Kung baga corrupt na, ma-elect pa natin. So I'd like to welcome to our program si Professor Winnie Monsod. Magandang araw po. And thank you for joining us.
Christian? Oo, magandang araw sa inyo. Okay.
Sinabihan ko si Ma'am Winnie na mas mag-Tagalog o mag-Filipino. Sisikapin daw niya dahil itong issue na ito malapit na malapit sa sikmura.
Try my best.
At sa puso. Okay. Ma'am Winnie, ang gusto ko sana pag-usapan dito, yun nga po, I'm not sure why this is the case, Maraming Pilipino, alam naman na corrupt yung mga kandidato, marami sa kanila, pero binoboto pa rin. Siguro to trace that, pag-usapan muna natin yung corruption. At pag-uusapan natin dito yung grand corruption, hindi yung petty corruption. By definition ng Transparency International, ang corruption is using entrusted power for personal gain. Okay.
For private gain.
Private gain. Okay. Let's talk about that, that distinction muna. Ano ba yung grand corruption versus petty corruption?
Yung petty corruption, yung mga kotong-kotong, dyan yun ang mga little bribes, 100 peso, 200 peso, hanggang 1,000 peso. Yung bribes ng yung mga binibili ang boto mo, corruption yun. Binibili ang boto mo. Kaya kung nagpapabili ka ng boto mo, corrupted ka. Alright? But grand corruption has to do with yung mga patakaran, mga proyekto ng gobyerno, that affects the country negatively. In other words, imbes na gumagawa silang patakaran na para sa kabutihan ng bansa, ang ginagawa nilang patakaran para sa kabutihan nila. Tapos, hindi lang yun. Binibusiness pa nila. They make it a family business. Kaya, ayun ang, that is the sanhi of our dynasties. Ginagawang family business yung corruption.
Yun sikapin natin i-simplify, because ang daming layers niya, and rightly so, those who are involved in that kind of corruption, yung grand corruption, would like to make it even more complicated para hindi maunawaan ng mga tao. Yun ang paliwanag natin. Kasi, for instance,
simplify na.
Ang latest, yung corruption perception index, 115th tayo out of 180 countries. So basically, dun naman tayo naglalaro lagi. Do you agree na talaga ang perception na sa atin, corrupt na bansa?
150th out of 180.
115
But noong
out of
2014 or 2015, at tayo napakataas. We were in the top half. Hindi tayo in the bottom third, in the top half. In other words, the corruption can be
Worsened.
greater or less depending on your leader.
So malaking bagay ang leader.
God. Of course, anong sinasabi nila? If the water coming out from the bukana ng river is dirty, then it will go all the way down. But if the water coming out is clean, there will be less corruption. I hope you...
Sa pagtingin nyo, kasi may mga nakakausap po ako, even those from the current government, they're saying na mas malalaro ngayon.
Well,
We're talking of government corruption, hindi lang po yung private.
okay, we're talking about government. Titignan lang natin ang Corruption Perception Index. Noong 2014, 38 tayo. Masama pa rin yon because 100 most corrupt. I mean, less corrupt and 0 is the most corrupt. Tayo 38. But that's the highest we've ever been. 2014, 2015. Ngayon, bumaba na tayo sa 33. Tapos this year naging 34 with Bongbong. So Bongbong is responsible for an increase in a decrease in our corruption by 1 point.
Ito yata yung score, no? You're referring to the...
I'm talking about the Corruption Perception Index, yung sinasabi mo. And in 2014, we were, I think, in the top half. Or, right there. Now we are in the bottom third.
Kasi in terms of score, ang global average I think is 43. Tayo nasa 34. Mababa pa rin tayo sa average.
Of course. I mean, let's face it, in 2014, there's still corruption, but it is better than it was now. So sa tanong mo, mas malala ba ngayon?
Answer is yes.
Mas malala according to that index. Hindi yung kuro-kuro lang, etc. According to that index, bumaba tayo.
Sige.
Okay, before we continue there, what is interesting also there at this point of the discussion, mga ka-U3, is ano yung mga criteria na kino-consider for these research bodies in saying na, okay, this is the, kumbaga, amalgam, koleksyon ng mga datos, iba't ibang mga aspekto, and then it amounts to this particular score. I'm very interested with their methodology in measuring the Corruption Perception Index, CPI, mga ka-U3. But anyway, going back, what we can get here, of course, is for us to understand, ito po yung importance ng tinatawag po natin na quantitative data. Kasi usually, like for example, in social sciences, for example, like political science, most of the things that we encounter, for example, are not directly quantifiable. Hindi po siya denumero agad. So, kaya po importante po yung pag-transform ng qualitative data into quantitative data. Hence, the score that we have right now out of 10, which is around 34 nga po, sabi ni Maring Winnie.
Let's simplify and try to better explain to the public yung grand corruption. Paano na agrabyado yung ordinaryong Pilipino dito sa mga cases ng grand corruption, yung large scale?
Grand corruption, halimbawa sa health, nagkaroon ng corruption sa health. For medicine, what happens is that yung mga mahihirap, nawawala ng medisina o yung medisina na nabibili nila is masama, yung
substandard.
Yung it's watered down, etc.
Substandard.
So it's substandard.
Yep.
It affects infant mortality. Kasi the medicines, the doctors, etc. It affects child mortality. It affects transportation, yung accidents. Ang dami natin aksidente sa sea accidents. Remember how many accidents? What was all that because of? Ultimately, it was because of corruption. Kasi yung mga Coast Guard pinapabayaan umalis yung barko sa port na talagang punong-puno ng tao. What's that? Okay? That is corruption. And then of course corruption affects growth of the country. Pinagyayabang natin, 6% growth, 7% growth,
Yep.
etc. If the country were not corrupt, that could be even higher.
Correct.
So marami nawawala doon sa kaban ng bayan at ang epekto nandun sa ordinaryong Pilipino.
Can I just tell you kung anong epekto sa ordinaryong Pilipino ang corruption? Ito'y kwento sa Pilipinas. Okay? Noong 1960, mas mataas ang per capita income natin, income of each Filipino, per capita mas mataas kesa sa Thailand, mas mataas kesa sa Indonesia. 1,300 ang per capita income natin in international dollars. 900 lang ang Thailand, 700 lang ang Indonesia. After 50 years, tayo ay nasa baba. Indonesia 7,700 na ang kanilang per capita income. Ang ating per
3,000
capita
plus.
income noong 2009 is 2,800. Tingnan mo. Okay? So, ang sinasabi, bakit? Kasi mas mataas ang growth rate. Tayo, ang growth rate ng Philippines over those 50 years of per capita income was only 1.58%. Ang per capita income growth ng Thailand was 4.6%.
What did they do differently?
Okay.
That's a good question.
Ano ang differential? Why are the growth rates different? Ang pinakamalaking factor that affects growth rate differences is government policy, patakaran ng gobyerno, at saka institutions. Yung mga the way of doing things means, how corrupt are we?
At mas may predictability kung ano ka investor.
Government policy and institutions account for 80% of the differences in the growth rate.
Okay.
So you can say that the Philippines did not grow as fast as its neighbor because the Philippines was more corrupt than its neighbors. Because there's corruption everywhere. But in 2003, nagkaroon ng World Economic Forum conducted a executive survey, executives on corruption. And do you know where the Philippines was? The Philippines was considered among the highly corrupt. Thailand and Indonesia were among the medium corrupt, right? Mga Singapore, etc., very small corrupt. We were highly corrupt. So talagang alam mo na kung baga sa corruption, talagang number 1 tayo. Okay?
And we're
Pinoy
talking of
pride.
Thailand and Indonesia, nakilala rin sa corruption.
But medium lang sila.
Yeah.
Tayo high. Ang kasama natin dun sa high, yung mga tatlong
African countries.
Central American countries, 4 South American countries, and then the Philippines. The Philippines was the only country in Asia that was considered highly corrupt.
Highly corrupt.
And you can see that these countries grew faster, their incomes were greater than us.
Okay.
So corruption affects in the final analysis our stomachs, our health, our education. But the poor people don't seem to understand it. Why? It's not their fault. Because they're so poor that they're only worried about where their next meal is coming from.
That's true.
Precisely.
That's true.
You ask me why do they vote for these people? Well, these people buy their votes. And that money that they get, they need for their food. And they don't realize yung parang
Short-sighted.
hindi sila pwedeng mag long term kasi before the long term comes, baka namatay na sila eh.
Correct.
That is the problem. So I cannot blame the Filipino people for saying, well, I'll vote for him because he gave me 2,000 pesos. And then they don't realize that giving you 2,000 pesos, he gets 10,000 pesos, maybe 20,000, maybe a million pesos.
In return.
And you
Stay.
wallow in your poverty.
And the sad part is that yung mahirap, wala siyang privilege or opportunity to think that far, to think that complicated.
They don't have the luxury of time. They don't have, but that is the case even with developing countries, versus developed countries. And the developed countries says, why don't you, mag-invest kayo instead of consuming?
Yeah.
And sinasabi ng developing countries, paano kami mag-i-invest? Baka mamatay na kami sa hunger, before it comes in.
Yep.
That is the problem of all this.
Dito sa worsening corruption.
Okay, before we continue, that would really make sense. I remember, this really takes me back. So I remember this discussion that I had with co-teacher on my first year as a teacher. So 2009, ayan. And one of the discussions I had was with a colleague na galing ng Amerika. Doon siya nag-masters sa Amerika. And then we talked in person, and then his idea during that time, he said na dapat mag-industrialize na tayo. Yun ang kanyang focus. Sabi niya na lahat ng mga nagde-develop na mga bansa is nag-i-invest sa technology sa kanilang mga industriya, sa mga factories nila. And I remember arguing that time na that is good, of course, pero sa kailangan natin ngayon is kung meron tayong industriya na i-focus, instead of tech, is-strengthen natin yung agriculture, which is our strong point. Yun yung perspective ko naman. Liban pa sa talagang mahal, syempre yung practicality lang naman talaga. Sabi nga ni Maring Winnie dito, na sa mga developing countries, ang focus nila yung kanilang sikmura, yung mga kumbaga bagay muna na nagko-concern sa kanila sa that particular moment moment. Wala pa tayong luxury na mag-look forward into the future and then, really invest on these things. So, nagigets ko po yung sinabi dito ni Maring Winnie. And that's a sad reality as to tech mga ka-U3, ano? So, kaya hindi tayo kumbaga parang makapag full blast kumbaga sa ating mga polisiya, lalong-lalo na sa globalized trade. Dahil nga, una, kailangan natin na i-prioritize muna yung welfare ng ating mga kababayan, of course.
Sa atin, no? You compared yung past 50 years dito sa current. Ano yung main reason sa nakikita ninyo? Is it because you don't have sufficient policies in place, sufficient laws, or the culture has become so bad?
It's a vicious circle.
Yep.
Because, halimbawa, sa Kongreso, mag-choose sila ng mga proyekto. Yung mga proyekto na dapat para sa kapakanan ng bayan, na kanilang ends up for their it's for their own. Kasi meron silang commission, meron silang, I don't know what you call it, SOP.
SOP. Or
right?
sila na yung contractor.
Yeah. It's terrible. So, instead of helping the country, those projects actually hurt the country. Yung nagpapasama, ayan ang proyekto, ay yung patakaran. Halimbawa, gagawin ko, ikaw ang polisiya natin. Maybe, an example, yung gagawa tayo ng sovereign fund. Ng ganda nun, ha?
Harlika Investment Fund.
Yeah. That is going to help only a few people. That's going to help them launder their money at whatever it is. But it's not going to do anything in the next 6 years. It's not. And yet, it was approved, ang bilis-bilis ng approval. Halatang-halata mo na, wow, they must be making a lot of money out of this.
Tapos, ang selling point nila sa public is that kayo makikinabang in the form of infrastructure investment, social services.
Tignan lang natin ang infrastructure investment. Infrastructure investment, ang dami-daming kuno ang na-spend sa infrastructure investment. But kung tama ang sinasabi nila na ang corruption is 40%, it gets 40%. Yung 40% na of the money that is supposed to be spent on the project is given to the politician. What kind of project will that result in?
Correct.
Siguro mga 6 months, wala na yan.
Sira na.
Doon sa ibang countries, pag may proyekto, may corruption nga. Pero nabibuild yung tamang
Specifications.
The right specifications. That's our problem. We don't have, in the Philippines, we do not have rules for corrupt practices.
Walang honor among thieves. Kumbaga, they get the whole pot. Iba nag-iiwan pa ng konti.
It's terrible. You see all our roads.
Yeah.
Siguro in the next rain, wala na.
Oh. Pero bakit nga ganun, Ma'am Winnie? Kasi, nung tinitingnan ko yung mga batas na in place, honestly, malalakas siya eh. I suppose ang problema, implementation.
It's not supposed. It is a fact that you are not implementing the projects properly. If a project costs 2 billion pesos and half a billion pesos is going
Goes
for
to the
corrupt practices,
yeah.
what do you expect that project to end up like? Hindi ba? It is so clear. But as I said, this does not resonate to the Filipino people unless you can connect the problems of their children, the health problems of their children, their lack of food, their poverty, their poor education, unless you can connect that to corruption. That's what you connect.
Ang isa pa magandang ipaliwanag, before kasi yung mga businessmen, mga negosyante, nag-aalaga sila ng mga politiko to actually push for their interests in terms of legislation.
Hanggang ngayon.
Hanggang ngayon naman, pero yung iba ginawa, hindi kami natatakbo. Kami na magko-congressman, kami na magsesenador, kami na tatakbo sa posisyon. Para hindi na namin kailangan makiusap doon sa mga politiko. We control it. That's also corruption, right?
Yeah.
Ang hirap ipaliwanag siguro sa ordinaryong Pilipino kung bakit merong mali sa ganun. Kunwari, isa ka negosyante, tatakbo ka sa posisyon, and you know that the electoral system favors the wealthy, the moneyed individuals, most likely makukuha mo yung posisyon na yun. Tapos, wala naman tayo masyadong safeguards against such politician from using that position to protect or even promote the business.
Of course.
So, ano gagawin ng ordinaryong Pilipino pag ganon?
It has to start somewhere.
Yep.
In other words, let us not say that it is a hopeless situation, but it has to start somewhere. And if you're talking about it nationally, maybe, nakakalula yung, how can we do it with just one person?
Right.
You're one, but you are, you're only one, but you are one. So if you're natatakot ka sa national, umpisahan na natin sa barangay, pwede ba?
Oo, yung pinakamalapit sa tao.
Barangay. Alam mo, may poder tayo, hindi natin ginagamit. Hindi
Power.
natin ginagamit. Bakit? Hindi natin alam na meron, na ando doon. Yun pala, kung titignan mo yung barangay, this is another one of my favorite advocacies. If you just look at the barangay laws, you will find that each voter from 15 years old and over, hindi lang 18 years old and over,
SK,
is a member of the barangay assembly. That barangay assembly na ini-small natin, hindi natin pinupuntahan, ayun pala, you can call the barangay captain, you can ask him to find, you can ask him about the projects, you can deny the projects, you can say you cannot do that, you can pass laws in your barangay. Tayong mga citizens, hindi natin ginagamit yung poder na nasa atin.
Okay, before we continue, I like how Maring Winnie is using here the word poder, poder, Spanish word for power. Yung tinatawag po dito, ito po yung konsepto, yung each na citizen, for example, could influence, could change political process. Ang tawag po dito sa political sense is political participation. So ito po isa din sa mga kulang po sa mga developing countries katulad po ng Pilipinas, na kung saan, syempre, tapetics lang tayo, wala tayong iniisip na participation sa gobyerno natin. Compare that with other countries. They're very participative, kumbaga, sa mga proseso sa kanilang panggogobyerno, sa kanilang mga distrito. At kinakailangan po talaga din ng involvement ng bawat isa. Kaya nga pong iba, andali po sa kanilang mangurakot dahil wala naman din mga tao na tumitingin sa kanila. Liban pa po yun sa mga batas po na, well, in a way, lacking sa pag-punish ng mga kurakot nga po ng mga politiko sa atin. Iba rin po kasi kapag may participation po yung bawat isa, lalong-lalo na po sa barangay, which is closer po yung ating pong relationship with each other, mga ka-U3.
Sinasabi natin we are powerless. Well, the power that we have, we don't even use. And that has to stop. That thinking that we are powerless has to stop. We are powerful, but we have to be together.
And we have to know how to use it. Yun yung prinsipyo ng accountability.
I cannot,
Yep.
the question that you asked na, why is it that we do this way, we accept it, manhid na tayo
Oo nga parang tanggap na ng marami, no? Nadidinig yan lagi sa mga ordinaryong Pilipino nakakausap po, sabihin nila, lahat naman yung corrupt Parang give up na.
Well, that is the sure way for the Philippines not to get up in this world. That attitude is the sure way. Na talagang that attitude will assure that we are never going to grow as fast. My God, Vietnam finally caught up with us in 2019.
Yeah.
So, noong sa taas tayo, ngayon sa bottom, everybody has caught up with us. Hindi ba kayo natatakot dyan? Hindi ba kayo
Nalulungkot.
Aren't you angered by it? Because ang dunong-dunong ng mga Pilipinos, napaka-talented natin. Kung sinasabi, anyway, that's not my, wag tayo makialam. Baka makakuan pa tayo, madamay pa tayo.
Mapahamak.
That's the wrong attitude. That has to change. That attitude has to change.
How about the issue of laws and the certainty of punishment? Kasi meron tayong mga batas against corruption. We have the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Meron tayong Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Give me example. Bureau of Immigrations. Remember, President Marcos said that Bureau of Immigrations chief, because of the Alice Guo thing, fire him. Ayan na lang ba? Why don't you charge him administratively? Why don't you, punish him for what he has done or what he has failed to do? Right? None. Panis, as if that was punishment. Alis, kung nabayaran siya ng 5 million or 6 million,
okay lang.
Na lang yung 6 million.
Right.
Wala nang magagawa. I mean, I'm not saying that he got 6 million. I'm saying that the law is supposed to punish. There are criminal laws, civil laws,
administrative
and there are administrative laws.
Yep.
You can fire him, and then you can say, because of that, you are going to give up your pension.
It shouldn't stop just the firing.
No, it must not stop in firing. Ayaw masyadong problema pa yan masyadong problema pa yan. Just get him out. That's wrong. That's what is the message there? Anong mensahe mo sa mga tao?
Okay, kapag siguro ang mensahe niyan, kapag gumawa ka ng mali, papaalisin ka lang. Pero yun na yun, mapapaalis ka lang sa trabaho mo. There's no guarantee for you or certainty of punishment for you to stay in prison, something like that, mga ka-U3. At gusto ko lang i-mention dahil nga po, ito pong sa ideya nga po na masyado tayong relaxed, sa pagpaparusa ng mga kurakot, ng mga korupsyon na nangyayari. Maalala ko lang po kasi ito, medyo shocking po ito ninyo sa Japan, di ba? Na yung isang diver po doon, this was like 2 weeks ago na balita po, na yung kanyang pension, hindi na maire-release dahil nahuli na nagnakaw siya ng ilang dollars lang yun, Napakakonti lang po na halaga. Nakita po kasi sa video camera yung driver po ng bus yata. And because of that, wala na siyang pension. The message there that they are, kumbaga, sending to the drivers, to public transport na mga personnel, is kapag naging kurakot ka, ito yung magiging punishment mo. Talagang strict po yung kanilang mga punishment sa ibang bansa. Lalo na po sa Japan, for example. Pero sa Pilipinas, kaya, kumbaga, nagpapatuloy ang korupsyon kasi walang certainty of punishment sa mga politiko, sa mga personnel na nangungurakot, mga ka-U3.
O sige, gawin mo, magkurakot ka ng magkurakot, tapos all you have to do is, you will
alis ka lang.
Resign. That's all. There's no punishment.
Itong perception po na mas corrupt ngayon sa gobyerno, do you think it has also a lot to do with the tone from the top or the lack of credibility of the person at the helm? Kasi alam natin na hounded hanggang ngayon ang mga Marcoses na issue ng corruption. So may pagkukulang ba sa credibility, for instance? Kunwari, Bongbong Marcos saying, I will root out corruption. Teka muna, miski mga taga-suporta niya, baka mapaisip.
But President Marcos says he'll root out corruption. But think of the sugar scandal. That's billions of dollars. Do you remember? Natatandaan niyo ba ang sugar scandal? That was when he was Secretary of Agriculture. Di ba? He prevented the importation and then they imported finally. It was too late and it was the imported price was so high. Who made money there?
That's
Do you think only the trader made money there? Impossible. There are so many scandals to which he is connected. But I will grant you this. In his term, he has tried because the corruption perception index
1 point.
went up 1 point. Ako, malaking bagay yan. I say it's malaking bagay. I hope it will continue this way. But there has been some attempt at reducing corruption. But I'm saying that those attempts are not enough. Kailangan talagang pursigihin nila. That's why in 2015, what's his name? Si Pinoy. Pinoy. Tumaas yung corruption perception index. We went to 38, the highest we have ever been. We have not gotten it then. What was the effect of that? At that time, the Philippines was one of the 10 most desired investment destinations. Halatang-halata mo na, there is a relationship between corruption and the rule of law. The rule of law. Growth and investment. Here we are talking about, we have to change the Constitution. Napakagago ng mga leaders natin. No, hindi ko sinasabing gago ang mga Pilipino. Gago ang mga leaders natin. Pero hindi lang gago. Baka hindi gago, masyadong
tuso.
Whatever that is. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. They can see it naman eh. President Aquino then said, why are you telling me to change the Constitution? Here they are. We're the 10th most attractive country for investment opportunities. That did not last, for example. Come Duterte, nothing.
Okay, before I continue, I may not agree with that totally, mga ka-U3. Attractive for investment? That time, probably. Pero one of the main reasons po kasi na hindi natin masustain yung investments coming from, yung mga tinatawag po natin na FDI, foreign direct investments, is because of our policy. Yung atin po mga polisiya ay masyado pong restrictive sa pag-own po ng mga korporasyon. Alam niyo po yan, most of the time, it's either 60-40, liban na lang sa mga broadcast networks, media, it has to be 100%. Sa ating mga kumpanya, 60-40. So, liban pa sa 100% na hindi pwedeng mag-own yung mga foreigners, ito pang mga kumpanya natin, kumbaga dahil mas malaki ang capitalization ng mga Filipinos na counterpart nila, yung balik sa kanila, obviously, 40% lang, no? Hindi nila kumbaga ma-maximize din yung kanilang mga profit dahil restrictive nga po ang ating pong polisiya patungkol sa investment. So, in that regard, economically, I don't agree. However, mayroong truth naman po in saying that yung ideya nga po ng rule of law is linked also with corruption, mga ka-U3. Kapag okay ang pagpapatakbo, mayroong konsepto ng rule of law, may magandang pamamahala, may magandang imahe, definitely nakakapekto po yan sa perception ng mga foreigners na mag-invest po sa ating bansa.
But what did he do? Did he, di ba? He jailed senators. He jailed so many people. That's the kind of thing that, that says to the other people, to foreigners, aba, he means business. Oh, what happened to the senators he jailed out of...
Yun nga Yun yung next point na gusto ko itanong po, Ma'am Winnie, no? Are we lacking in good examples on how to exact accountability from corrupt public officials?
Of course.
Kasi they find a way to
nag-iintay lang sila.
avoid jail time. Nag-iintay sila magbago administrasyon.
Exactly. That's all. Or, when si Alice Go wanted to be in the hospital, or what's his name, Joel Reyes of Palawan, is going to the hospital. Everybody's in the hospital, and it's allowed. So there is a different justice system for the rich and a different justice system for the poor. The only one who was not allowed was Senator Laila de Lima. Yeah. And she was innocent pa.
Oo. Oo. Basura yung mga ebidensya against her. Proven in court yan.
7 years, but she fought and fought and fought. Ayan the kind of example we need for our people. You follow that example. And if we all follow that example, it's going to be easier.
May isa ko naalala example. Kasi it's not every day that we convict a former president in the Philippines. Convicted sa era before. Kaso, he was pardoned rather promptly by Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. Do you think that was a missed opportunity for us to set an example? Convicted pero pinalabas ng Pangulo.
Well,
that's a good point.
Compare it with what happened in Korea. The convicted president, jailed, etc. No difference. No one is above the law. Itong message nito ni Gloria when she pardoned was, as long as you're politically helpful to me, okay na. In other words, there is a different system for the very powerful and a different system for the rest of us. That's wrong. That cannot be. I mean, look at, titingnan sa'yo, tema si Trump, Yeah. He is a convicted felon na.
He's still running for president.
And if he wins, talagang
done, he won.
What can we say? Kung nanalo yan as president, anong masasabi natin sa mga kababayan natin? It's okay to be corrupt. It's okay to abuse your power. Hindi ba?
Parang minsan yata kasi depende sa appetite for corruption ng tumitingin . Kasi kung Pilipino ka na masyado nang nasanay sa corruption, baka yung issue kay Trump, hindi masyado yan. Kasi sanay na kami sa bigger cases of corruption.
I don't know. But where have you... mangyayari ba sa Pilipinas yung nangyari ngayon sa United States na yung anak ng presidente, anak ng sitting president, convicted? Mangyayari kaya sa Pilipinas yan? Kaya kailangan natin yung ICC, yung International Criminal Court, because our courts will not be able to handle a case against a man
high profile person.
No way. That's why we need an International Criminal Court. Sinasabi na natin, hindi natin kaya. Pwede ba kayo na lang? Hindi ba?
Ganun yung message.
So we know what our weaknesses are. The question is, and Christian, you really have to ask this of everybody you interview. How do we start it? Because and this is a journey of 1,000 miles. This is a
single step.
It's not going to be easy. What is the first step? And if we agree that there is a first step, let's take it. And let's see. Maybe the second step will be easier and the third step will be easier. But we have to take the first step. For example, dun sa party list system, hindi ba inaabuso yung party list system.
Excuse me, binabastardize.
Okay.
Binababoy.
Ayan.
Masyadong light yung abuso.
Oh, sige. I agree with you. But think, I mean, the speaker's
Ay,
wife
nako.
is a party list
Yes.
Congress. Hindi ba, I mean, that party list was supposed to help the
Marginalized
marginalized
sectors.
to be represented in Congress. Now, the speaker's wife is not the only one. And that's happening all the case. Why do we do that? Why are we allowing that to happen?
Yep.
Our courts should prevent that from happening because that is an abuse of the very concept of party list.
Correct.
But the Atong Paglaong case actually allowed that. That's a problem. Basically, yung mga regional political parties, mga national parties, kumbaga hindi lang daw limited sa mga marginalized sector yung party list system. Yun ang latest interpretation nila. Hindi, na naging problema di ba? The spirit was supposed to actually promote the marginalized sector.
Ang spirit ng Constitution ng 1987, yung mga hindi pwedeng, who cannot afford the political power can now do it by the party list system. And they, what do you call it? Bastardized.
Bastardized.
They, binaboy nga.
Oo, lagi kong binabanggit yan dito sa program po, no? Kasi hindi nare-release sa mga tao. Ang ganda ng spirit ng party list to. Kunwari, hindi naman, siya o ako, mahirap pa kami tumakbo laban sa district representative kasi it entails big money.
Alright.
Pero kunwari, magsasaka ko, si Mamuini Tindera, dapat ang pang-level ng playing field, yung party list system.
Exactly.
Correct.
Ang problema, sobrang talino ng mga politiko at mga political dynasties. Naisip nila, kami na
Extend.
magtatayo ng party list namin para ma-expand yung power namin
Yeah.
sa House of Representatives. Marami examples yan, di ba?
Yeah.
The Suarezes of Quezon.
Yan, ayan. It's not just
Marami.
Nograles,
Marami.
Suarez. Ang dami. So, anong ginagawa ng bayan? Should not there be new legislation that will prevent that? But who is going to pass the law?
Sila
naman.
So, ang nagbe-benefit.
Sila rin.
That's the problem. Yung dynasty, Congress must pass a law. 37 years na, Congress has not passed the law.
And they're not stupid to legislate against their own political interests.
Okay. So what do we do about that? The only, you know what? The final solution is for the people to elect their congressmen and their senators intelligently. I don't mean that you have to be educated. You have to be intelligent.
Yeah.
But then against that is these people pay you money to vote for them. And the money is big compared to what you can earn. That's the problem that has to be solved.
Okay, before we continue mga kayuti, on vote buying, hindi pa ako nag-receive. Okay, wala pa ako na-receive ever. I happened to ask isang tricycle driver po dito sa Pampanga na tinanong ko siya kung naka-receive ba sila ng pera nga po para iboto o suporta ng isang particular na mayoralty candidate. And ang binigay po pala sa akin, hindi pala malit, no? Around 1,000 pesos sa isang kandidato po yan, no? Hindi ko alam kung sa vice pa nun, iba pa. But just imagine, saan kumukuha itong mga politicians na ito, or hindi pa nga politician yung iba ha, sasabak pa lang nga sa politika. The logic would dictate na yung mga pera na kanilang na-spend, kanilang babawiin, di ba? Pag sila ay nasa posisyon ng mga ka-U3. Di ba? It will not make sense if you're spending for nothing, di ba po? So, paano ROI, kumbaga, ang return on investment nila. So, ito nga po yung sinasabi ni Maring Winnie na we have to be more intelligent. And I like how she distinguished it with not being educated voters, pero we have to be intelligent voters, mga ka-U3.
I don't know how to solve it. I don't know if you know how to solve it, but that is what has to be solved.
We have solutions in mind, but the problem is how and where do we start? Kasi it's a vicious cycle. Sa totoo lang Tsaka, actually, Ma'am Winnie, I also challenge the concept of the idea of a smart vote. When you talk about ordinary Filipinos. Kunwari ako single mom, single dad, 3 anak, pinapaaral, iisipin ko muna ano yung pambaon niya bukas, ano yung pangkain niya. Pag may lumapit sa akin na politiko, nagbigay ng 2,000, tatanggapin ko yun, at iboboto ko siya because that's a smart decision for me and my family. Kumbaga, hindi siya aabot sa ganitong level ng discussion to think of the bigger picture.
Do you remember Cardinal Sin? And he said to the voters,
Willing to accept.
Get the money, just don't vote for them. Ngayon hindi na pwede yun Hindi na pwede because the politicians have fixed it so that if they're not sure you're going to vote for them, they'll pay you money not to vote.
Ang tawag doon disenfranchisement. Hindi ka na pabobotohin.
Yeah, well, but you are disenfranchised because there's nothing against your voting, but you will not vote. And it is it is both a blessing and a curse that the Filipinos have a sense of honor.
Utang na loob. Utang na
When
loob.
they say,
Babotohin
okay,
kita.
you paid me money, I will not vote. I will, I don't want to vote for you, so I will not vote. They will not vote.
They will honor
Right.
that.
They will honor
Yeah.
that one. Hindi ko alam kung ano. In some cases, we are so honorable, and in other cases, we are so
Dishonorable.
Yun nga rin Tsaka issue ng debt of gratitude, no? Kunwari, nagbigay ng maraming ayuda yung isang politiko. Ngayon, kung hindi nyo napapansin, yung mga viewers natin, gamit na gamit for political patronage yung mga official programs ng government for social services. Diba? Congressmen, grabing credit for it. But in fact, dapat proyekto lang yan ng DSWD.
Exactly.
Paparating yung election. Diba? So, nagkakaroon ng utang na loob. Ngayon, sa akin, I agree with you, no? Hindi natin pwedeng sisihin yung butante. Diba? Ang sisihin natin yung nagte-take advantage sa kanila.
Absolutely.
Oo.
But also, kasi, it is in the interest. This is the problem. It's a vicious circle. It's in the interest of the politicians and the political dynasties to make sure that the people are kept economically deprived,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that it is easier for them
Oh,
to
yeah.
buy the votes.
Oh, yeah.
That is the problem. And so you can see, nakikita natin ang relationship between political dynasties in a province and the level of education, poverty, mas malaki.
Yeah.
Kung may dinastiya sa probinsya, mas mataas ang antas ng kahirapan.
Yep.
Lahat yan, may ebidensya yan. Tapos, doon sa Kongreso,
Okay, so what Maring Winnie is saying here, and alam nyo na ang isang lugar na mas may maraming political dynasties, makikita mo na nagsasuffer ang kanilang constituents, ang level of education ng constituents also ay mababa in general, mga ka-U3. Siyempre may mga exception naman, pero yung punto po dito, di ba, na kumbaga, telltale sign, kumbaga, na ang isang lugar ay kurakot kapag puro dinastiya at yung kanilang dinastiya lamang yung na-maintain nila for a long time, pero makikita mo sa ordinary na citizen ng lugar na yan, hindi mo makakita na reflective ito ng economic progress na dapat meron sila. Maalala ko din po yung sinabi ni Mighty Magulang. Si Mighty Magulang, isa pong popular din po na influencer, na na-meet ko po sa isa pong event about Autism Society Philippines. I remember her saying, dahil tinitrace niya yung mga bloodlines, di ba po, sa kanya pong show, sa kanyang mga content about sa pagtitrace ng mga lineage or ancestry, is she tried to trace yung mga political dynasties, and nakakalula kung gaano nagko-connect lamang yung mga political na mga dynasties sa Pilipinas. Dahil kakaunti lang sila lang din ang kumbaga nagkakaroon ng mga intermarriage para syempre makip yung wealth among their respective political families, mga ka-U3.
sabi, no, you let the Filipino vote for what he wants to vote for.
Bastardize nga yung system
So what are we going, let us not end this.
Hindi, may isa pa ako before we end. Ito kasi, yung example nung party that was thrown by friends for BBM. Okay? Something bothers me with the way people are commenting on it. That many of them don't find anything wrong with the fact that the president was given a party, private concert ng Duran-Duran.
Tayo muna, baka hindi nila alam kung magkano ang cost ng Duran-Duran. Did you ever tell the people, this is how much that Duran-Duran performance cost?
May mga lumalabas online based on reasonable guess and research ng mga tao.
From $500,000 to almost $1 million for that one show. 500,000 to almost $1 million. That's the minimum that would have been paid for Duran-Duran.
Grabe, no?
Ngayon, tanungin lang natin, isip lang ng konti mga,
Kabayan.
who would spend 500,000 to $1 million, hindi ito 500,000 pesos,
Dollars.
$500,000. Who would spend that much for a birthday gift unless you had something in mind to get back?
In the future. Maybe not now, but in the future.
Of course, that now in the future. But but it's not only the run-of-the-mill Filipinos who say, well, that's, magkaibigan naman sila eh. President Joseph Estrada himself, sabi niya sa akin, Winnie, wala akong ni isang kusing
Naninakaw.
na kinuha sa pera ng gobyerno. And he is right. Wala siyang kinuhang isang kusing. But you see, His friends used him. His friends was the one that got the kusings from the government.
And that
You
is
know
still
what I mean?
corruption. And that is
And
corruption.
that is corruption.
Of course.
It is the use or abuse of your office
Private gain.
for private gain.
Isa pang basic question, no? Yung kay President Marcos, kung ako ba kaibigan, reregaluhan po ba kita ng ganong kamahal na private concert kung hindi ka presidente?
But you know, in other countries, that is not allowed. That is not allowed. If the president is given a gift,
Yep.
he immediately gives it to an office for you know, or if he wants the gift. This is in the World Bank, for example. The World Bank employee is given a gift. This was during Christian's time in the World Bank. He had to give the gift to an office in the World Bank. If he wanted that gift, he had to pay for it.
Yes.
Oh,
Sa Singapore, ganun din. They have a similar system.
interesting.
You see,
Wow.
That's what it is. Here, my
Wow.
God, sa Christmas lang, ang dami-daming sinasabi nila, pagkain lang naman yun. Diyos ko naman, hindi lang pagkain. You know, there are stereos, there are cars, there are kung ano-ano. You know, worth more than 1 million pesos. This gift of the friends of Bongbong to President Marcos,
Bongbong, yeah.
$500,000. How much is that?
Times 56.
Oh, I cannot tell.
20 to 25 million around.
Isa pa example, no? Kunwari, politiko.
More than-
Politiko ka, kunwari po, ano? Pero kang event, personal, kasal, pinyag, tapos sumagot yung mga friends mo. That's also basically conflict of interest.
Corruption
Ay, corruption,
yun. That
yes.
is alam nyo, meron tayong batas, RA 68 something. That is, you know, that is Corrupt Practices Act. It says all there. But even President Duterte, during his term, said, what is this gift yung sa police? Yung binigyan ng, ano na yan? You know, that's only a gift. Pwede na yan. That's not pwede. But the president himself said, pwede yan. Also, who's going to say no?
Na. Oo.
Who's going to say no?
Okay.
But that is because our moral values have been corrupted itself, our moral values.
Okay.
Do you remember in 2000, basta during Glorious time, during Glorious time, in a demonstration at whatever, nagmura si Senator Rojas.
Yeah.
Ang lakas ng adverse reaction.
Okay, before she continues there, here's the thing. What happened there mga kayo, mga early 2000s po yan, isa sa mga, kumbaga, top contenders po, no, na tinitingnan na tatakbo sa isang political position next to the time of Gloria Arroyo is yung galing po sa Liberal Party nga po na si Mar Rojas. And Mar Rojas actually shouted very, very loudly, PA! Yan. So, grabe yung crowd. Sigaw na sigaw yung crowd. And I remember in a State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Gloria Arroyo, she said there, ang hahalili sa akin na political position or yung presidential nga po na position ay definitely hindi nagmumura sa public. Parang something like that, mga ka-U3. So, tingnan natin anong sasabihin dito ni Maring Winnie.
Now, look at Bato del Rosario, look at Duterte, look at everybody. And everybody accepts it.
Normalize.
See?
Normalize,
You
yeah.
see how the values have deteriorated?
Yes.
Okay. What is the church doing about it? What are we doing about it? Well, I cannot say anything because I always make mura. I mean, that's me. But I don't agree that it is good. It's just that I'm a sinner.
Ang tingin ko problema dyan kasi matinding damage nung 6 years under Duterte in terms of our moral
Moral
values.
degradation.
Masyado naging acceptable sa maraming Pilipino. Kapag tingin mo adik, patayin.
Akalain mo, minura niya ang Papa.
Minura yung Santo Papa. Parang na-normalize eh.
So what are we going to do about it now?
Yun nga. So let's not end this in a very negative note. No?
Okay, how do you end it positive?
Ako interviewer.
Okay, I forgot.
Mahihirapan ako eh. Hindi, ang hirap kasi ng sagot honestly sa tanong na yun eh. No? Ang hirap eh. Ang lagi ko sinasabi sa ganyan, Ma'am Winnie, I don't even know where and how to start. Kasi for example,
No, that's not correct. You know how to start. You start right in your own home.
yes, ang dami kasing options eh. Example, choosing the right leaders. Diba? We can start that. Pero kung yung options available to us are the product of a system that favors the rich, limited yung choices natin to begin with. And how many Filipinos think this way? Majority ng mga botante, talagang wallowing in poverty. Matinding inconveniences nila sa buhay. Kaya very susceptible sila dun sa vote buying. Tsaka sa influence sa mga tao. Ako, ang iniisip ko dyan, if we can find a way to convince our legislators through public pressure to reform our electoral and political system. Ipagbawala yung pagbalimbing, magsimula tayo doon.
Yeah.
Yung
But
dynasty
that is
medyo matagal eh.
impossible. But, all right. Okay. So you're saying that we can use public pressure. What does that require of the Filipino citizen? What does that require of us to use that public pressure? How do we apply the public pressure? Ayan ang sasabihin mo. What is it?
Public information. I remember nung panahon ni Pinoy, di ba? Tanggap na lahat yung pork barrel eh. Pero because of public pressure, the administration, personally, I felt even si Pinoy, hindi naman ganun kabigat sa kanya yung issue ng pork barrel eh. Tanggap yan eh, di ba? Pero, although technically, nandyan pa rin naman ang pork barrel. Pero at that time, natanggal.
So what is your good news?
Nalungkot na ako
What
eh.
is your good...
Kaya sumagot muna. Where do we start?
Okay, let's start with the next elections. I'm just asking you, in the next elections, please do not vote for anybody in a political dynasty. If there is a battle and there's a man and a woman involved, I think you better vote for the woman. Everything else remaining the same, vote for the woman. Please
So there is Pasaribos assumption.
accept the gift and what do you call it? Disregard your sense of honor. Accept the gift because
And don't, you need it.
ang kwan mo they owe it to me. Ito galing, galing sa pera ng bayan. They owe it to me. That is not their money that they're giving to me. Talagang hindi kanilang pera yun eh. Nakaw nila yan eh. Alright? They're not, so, I get it and I will still vote or I will,
For what I
whatever
like.
it is. I will disregard my sense of honor. Ayan ang free sa akin.
Kumbaga,
For the next elections,
ibig sabihin, okay tanggapin kung talagang wala kayong choice, you want to look after your family, tanggapin yung regalo ng kandidato.
Yes.
Pero ihiwalay yung utang na loob.
but remember that is not his money. That is stolen money. That is stolen from the people of the Philippines. That is important. So that they do not have a sense of, wala
Utang na
silang
loob.
utang na loob. Talagang hindi. Ang liit ng pera niyang kumpara sa dinakaw nila sa inyo.
Okay. Kung wala talaga kayong choice, no? Yan ang nyo.
Anong walang choice?
Hindi, for example, talagang binibigay ng pera, di ba? Kung ayaw nyo namang ayaw nila magmaganda, sige, tanggapin namin, pero ihiwalay utang na loob.
Yeah, that's what Cardinal said, Sin. Get it. And vote for whoever you want.
Okay.
For the right person. The good news, of course, is, there were dynasties that were not re-elected.
There were.
Yeah. So, there is hope. It's not, the problem is not just with the poor, it's with the rich. So who is the one that backs Duterte, if not the rich?
Yeah.
Please, let's not blame it all on the poor. Because I tell you, was Quirino re-elected? No. Was Garcia re-elected? No. Was Magsaysay re-elected? No. Well, he died. Was Macapal re-elected?
No.
The Filipino people never re-elected a sitting president, even with all the money going around. The only time it happened was with Marcos, and that was because he gave them rice and roads. And that was not even Marcos. That was Salas, his executive secretary.
Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Why did it take so long? It was only 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay lang, marami tayong napag-usapan.
Oo.
Pero maraming salamat, Ma'am Winnie, for joining us. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to
Okay. Yan po yung
Talk to you.
ating panayam with Professor Winnie Monsod. Again, maraming salamat po. See you sa next episode po dito sa ating Facts First Convos. Ako po si Christian Esguer.
use your vote properly. That is your only power.
Okay mga ka-youthie, so dyan po nagtatapos ang ating episode ngayon. Very political dahil nga po ito po ay katatapos lamang po ng ating midterm elections nung pong Monday and we are uploading this on Wednesday. So kahapon, Tuesday, alam na po natin yung mga resulta, no? Majority po ng mga ERs, election returns po ay nasend na po, na-transmit na po. And syempre po, ay nako, where can I start? Mga ka-youthie, hindi ko na po mauulit lahat po ng mga insights po na nasabi ko. Pero sinasabi lang po na last point po ni Maring Winnie, which I think naman, no, there is some truth to it. Ako, happy ako sa nangyari po na resulta ng midterm elections dahil, una, liban pa sa marami po yung mga political families, mga dynasties po ang natanggal o nasira, finally, at least in some places, yung lagi ko pong sinasabi at palagi ko pong na-mention sa ating pong mga video reactions, yung mga sumasayaw na mga artista, yung mga walang plataforma pero makakapal ang muka at it seemed na ginagawa nilang gatasan, ginagawa nilang retirement plan ang pagtakbo sa Senado, ang pagtakbo sa mga political position kapag sila po ay laos na, as shown naman sa ating midterm elections na may hope, may pag-asa po. And I like how, no matter how dark it was na yung topic nga po ng corruption, yung kumbaga degradation ng ating moral standards as a society, may hope pa rin naman. Kinakailangan nating maging optimistic. And I like what Maring Winnie said na we have to know what should we do on that very first step. Alamin natin ano yung first step at ano ang gagawin natin para kumbaga ma-materialize natin yung mga changes na gusto nating mangyari. Napakagandang discussion at sa totoo lang, medyo sumakit ng bagay ang aking ulo because of information overload mga ka-U3. Pero it's my first time watching ito pong Facts First na long form na podcast ni Christian Esguerra. Props po sa kanyang team. Props din po sa Facts First Productions na sa series po nila. And syempre, ako grateful ako sa passion ni Maring Winnie. Nandyan pa rin over the years. Nako, ang tagal na po ni Maring Winnie po sa pag-expose ng mga corruption. Nakapanood pa po ako yan mga ka-U3. 1990s pa po niya ng mga video presentations po ng mga corruption, ng mga bridges na substandard at iba pa. And I'm just so happy na she still has that passion to still talk about her experiences and her observations with regards to poverty, with regards to corruption mga ka-U3. What can you say about this episode mga ka-U3? Please comment below. Ano pong masasabi nyo? Meron bang mga political dynasties sa inyong mga lugar? Ayan. At kumusta po? Are you happy also with the result of the midterm elections? Comment below mga ka-U3. Please click like. Yan po ang ating pong tuition fee sa ating Usap-Usap University. You can watch this video here. You can also click this playlist over here. Subscribe kung hindi ka pa subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye-bye.